Okay, so I'm back here. So we said that this gas cost was for that first scenario, right? So let's take a look at what information here is just from that particular scenario. So this is the price of gas. This is the miles per gallon of the car. In this whole table, we're always talking about the same car, so that's going to stay the same. This is the length of the trip. Okay? These two things are going to change as we go through this table. But we don't have to kind of start all fresh every single time because we have this template here. So in the first row, it was $3.50 per gallon. 1 gallon was 40 miles for the mileage, and we went 386 miles on our trip. Okay, so let me write this over here so it's a little bit larger, okay? But we'll remember this part. So gas plus 114.12, right? So our total cost is going to be the gas price plus 114.12, right? For this rental. So let me just write this over here again, what we have. So we have 350 over 1 gallon. We have 1 gallon for 40 miles. And we have 386 miles for the trip. Okay? And that's how we're figuring out the gas cost. And again, this one right here, the price of gas, is something that is going to change throughout this table. And this one right here is also going to change. So this is what we had for the first row. Well, let's look at the second row. What information do we have now? Is it still $3.50 a gallon? No, it's $5 a gallon. So what we can do is we can just pull out this $3.50, and for row 2, we can put in $5 a gallon. Is it still the same vehicle? Yes, it's still 40 miles per gallon. Is it still the same trip length here? Yes. So now we can use this expression to find our gas price for this scenario. So now we do 5 times 386 across the top. That's going to be 1930. We're dividing by 40. Remember, this is giving us dollars. And we get 48.25. So what is that? That's the cost of gas. We know that the total cost also includes the rental fee and the tax, which are included in this 114.25 or 114.12. Sorry. So we add 48.25 plus 114.12, and we're going to get 162.37. So that is the cost of renting a car if we go with the same distance but we have higher gas prices. How do we figure out what the cost per mile is? Well, again, think about cost per mile, right? Cost per mile. Take the cost, divide by the number of miles. So when we do that, if we're rounding to the nearest penny, we can have 42 cents. All right. So the next part on your chart is back to $3.50 for the gas price. However, now it's 772 miles. So the distance has doubled, okay? Does that mean that we can just double our cost from here? Think about that for a minute. Will the whole cost double? It won't, right? The gas price will probably double, but It will double, but the rental fee doesn't double, and the tax doesn't double. Okay, so let's go back to our expression here. Let's think about the things that are going to change. Is our gas $5 a gallon? Not anymore. Now it's back to being $3.50. Is our mileage still 1 gallon for 40 miles? Yes. Is our trip length still 386? No, it's 772. Okay, so again, as I said, once you have this set up, you can just pull out the information that you need to change without redoing the entire thing. So I realize that you don't have a erase board or whiteboard, you might have to rewrite it, but you can just rewrite it with the new parts in there. Okay, so when we do this, and we multiply across the top, and then divide by 40, we are going to get, let's see, 70 times 350 divided by 40, we're going to get 67.55. Remember, that's the gas price. Then we take 67.55 and we add it to 114.12 and we get 181.67. Okay, so now we want to find cost per mile. So in this situation, we take the cost, we divide it by the number of miles. Don't forget now we're dividing by 772, not 386. So when we do that, we get 24 cents per mile. Okay, so I would like you to go ahead and do the last column, or the last row here, okay? We've done a few now. You know this is the setup for the gas price. Just change what you need to change for this particular scenario. Think about, what's the gas price, what's the distance, figure out your gas cost, and then you're going to add that in to your rental fee and your tax, and then you're going to figure out cost per mile. So go ahead and pause the video and fill out that last row of your chart, please. Okay, so when you did that last row, you should have had $5 in here. Same gas mileage, still the 772 miles for our trip. So now if we do 5 times 772, we're going to get 3860 over 40 is 9650. I add the 9650 to the 114.12 and I'm going to get 210.62. When I divide that now, cost per mile, so I take this, I divide it by 772 miles, I'm going to get, if we round to the nearest penny, 27 cents per mile. Okay, so let's take a look at these cost per mile for a second, that column. So you can see the cost per mile goes up, and then it goes back down, and then it goes back up, right? So these two are kind of a pair because they're the same distance. And these two are a pair because they're the same distance. So within each pair, obviously the cheaper gas price ends up having a cheaper cost per mile, okay? But why are these two costs per mile smaller than these two? Well, think about the other part of it, right? We have the gas part and we have this rental fee. So this is a flat fee. You're paying $114.12 whether you drive 1 mile or whether you drive 1,000,000 miles. The gas is going to fluctuate, but this part is going to get cheaper and cheaper per mile the more you drive. Think about sort of an easy example to think about. If I drive 1 mile, then this costs me $114 per mile. If I drive 114 miles, now it's only costing me $1 per mile. Okay, so the farther I drive with that, since this doesn't change based on mileage, the cheaper my cost per mile is. The gas will still, have a cost per mile associated with it. It will change, but that big chunk of money that you had to pay for the rental, that is not going to get bigger based on how many miles. So actually, you're paying less per mile the more you use that, in essence. Okay, so I'm going to stop the video here. Please take a few minutes to look this over and see that you understand how we did all that, okay? And then I will pick up a new video for the last portion of this lesson, which is the same idea as this, but it's going to be her own car, okay? All right, I will see you in a minute.